relaxing, no stressing. I'm the king of the game. From coast to coast, you know they know my name. Got the feast.
You gonna my one side. You make me give number. Me no feel look and pass.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new show. We got the match review. Newcastle United advancing in the FA Cup. It wasn't the prettiest of matches that we've seen for sure, but we got the win. We did what we had to do, and we're back. The NUFC insiders are back here on the show, ladies and gentlemen. I got Paul. I got Superfan Dan from California. He's another American Magpie. So, and then another NUFC insider, Philip from Toon Tactics TV. Welcome, gentlemen, to another show.
Thank you for the invite.
Yes,
Let's
sir,
talk some football.
Man, what a game! I mean, it was difficult to watch in the beginning. I thought we could have killed it, to be honest, much earlier, even though we weren't really playing good, which is confusing to think about. But I mean, what are you guys' thoughts? I mean, I can start with Paul. What's your assessment of yesterday's match between Newcastle and Fulham?
I think it's what I was saying earlier, that I think that sometimes having time off can be a detriment. As much as it's good to get energy in the legs and obviously get people back fit or whatever, on top of that, if you're playing often and frequently, you get that little unconscious sort of thing that goes with the team. And right. I think that we kind of like our own enemies there, because we looked a bit disjointed for the first half in particular. And part of the second half, we played better in the last 20 minutes, I felt, of the whole game. But we looked a bit like we had been away. Some people have been on holiday and whatever, which is they deserve it because they've been playing a lot. But it looked like that. It looked like they were still getting used to coming back. Murphy had only just come back from injury as well, which is a small thing where he's not match fit yet. I mean, I think that he gets that chance quite early. I think in other games that probably goes in. I mean, he scores. I mean, even though it's offside, he should have finished the first time, not the second time. So it was a phenomenal finish. Willian as well. That's one of the best offside goals I've ever seen in my life. Oh my God, dear me.
That was good.
It was unbelievable. I'm glad
it was close as well.
Yeah, I'm glad it didn't count.
Right.
But yeah, so it's just one of those where I just feel, for me, if you play badly and still get a win, that's a sign of a good team. I don't think we were terrible, but we weren't our usual selves for a lot of that game until we got 2-0 up and we got comfortable. And then Fulham kind of just ran out of steam because of having a game earlier on in the week. But we didn't. But I felt it was what they call a professional performance. I'd definitely call it one of those. It's not one I'd go back and watch ever again, but it was a professional performance. We got the job done. Who cares? We're into the next round.
Yeah. Super Dan, what do you think, man?
I 100% Paul's right. I thought I have to be honest. I thought for Fulham, their man of the match was Rodak. Their keeper was something else. If we're in the market for a keeper, there's a guy we might want to have a look at. Also, anytime we see U.S. internationals playing in England in the Premier League, it's also good. So I thought Robinson and Tim Ream, their captain, I thought they had pretty decent games. We, like Paul said, we didn't play well, but the fact of the matter is we scored twice and got the job done. It was great to see Murphy back on the field. His reaction when he was called offside just after scoring, it said everything. He was happy to be out there. He was happy to have had that opportunity. Sadly it was offside. I was following around on during the game on Reddit, and there was someone who remarked, oh, Murphy's in the starting lineup. Now watch, he'll probably score. Well, he had 2 really good chances, didn't he? So he's knocking off the rust, after 3 months of being out. I was just glad that it didn't appear that he got into any scuffles or anything that we could see a recurrence of that injury, even though he's, it's now surgically repaired. All in all, good. I loved seeing, Big Dan Burn as almost an out and out striker at some points during the match. I mean, he got way up there and was in the 18. Johnny on the spot to score the second one. I always love watching Dan Burn score.
Yeah.
So I thought I think Miley did really, really well. He continues to tick all the boxes. Bruno didn't have the best game, in his Tyneside career, but and you could see that at the end of the match, he was upset with himself. Longstaff had a great game. As I said to you yesterday, Chris, just seeing two hometown heroes score the goals last night, that was good. And as Paul said, in a professional goal, in a professional game, all that matters is that you walk away with a victory, and that's what we were able to do yesterday.
Dan, you might not know, but Chris doesn't really like some of our hometown heroes. So
No, I was about to get to that, but go ahead, man. Go ahead. Give me your text. I'll get to the long stuff in Denver. I was thinking in the back of my head, I'm like, oh man, tomorrow it's not gonna be a good one tomorrow, man. But go ahead, brother.
I mean, going into this month, actually, I said to myself, I thought that this will be like the recovery arc for Newcastle. We know the amount of injuries that we've had, with the amount of games that we've had. We know that our rivals don't care, but we just know why. That's what we had. With our form hasn't been the greatest in terms of that. And I always felt that going into this month that we would see green shoots of recovery, especially in our performances, but they might not always reflect in our results because we were playing Man City, we were playing Liverpool. And so even in those games, we've actually scored 2 against Liverpool and obviously 2 against Man City, but no one cares because obviously we lost 3-2, we lost 4-2. However, we played Sunderland very, very comfortable, like levels above with, easy work. But we made it look easy because that's Newcastle at the moment. And then obviously I was wondering about this game against Fulham because Fulham have beaten Arsenal, I think twice this season.
Yeah.
And they've had, they gave Liverpool a really good game. And I know that we beat them 3-0 at our ground. And still, though, they've had good performances. And so I was very curious to see how would we be playing in this game now against another Premier League side. What I didn't expect was, in my view, to have not a very good performance, but a very good result. It was the reverse of what I was expecting to see. So I was trying to understand what that meant. I think mainly from what I saw, especially in the first half, was we weren't that good on the ball, which was frustrating. We were very good off the ball, our basic fundamentals, running back, staying intense, and our defense is obviously having Botman back is connecting a little bit better and people are getting back into place. But and unless Isak connected with Bruno, we weren't able to break through the press very well. And so you're just thinking we're just crying out for another technical player there that would help. And for me, getting on Sean Longstaff, I know he scored. I know that Bruno's frustrated with himself, but I feel like Sean Longstaff needs to go back to what he was doing, what made him good, which was protecting Bruno, covering his back. Just give Bruno. Sean said it himself in the documentary. When I give Bruno the ball, I look good. Just go back to doing that, Sean. Just go back to getting the ball, covering Bruno's back, giving it to him, and letting him do that. I think because Bruno is having to literally do everything. Go through. If he doesn't go into the drop in on number 6 and collect the ball doesn't move very well. But if Bruno's on that side of the pitch, it's very difficult to who's going to make the connections in the other side of the pitch in terms of making the passes and moves and stuff like that. And he just can't be everywhere. Someone's got to be able to pick up the ball. And last year I would have said I prefer Bruno in a 6, but he's very clearly a better number 8 for us.
Yep.
So I think we managed to get through it. We did what we did. We stuck to the fundamentals. I feel like I had a friend tell me maybe I was being a bit too harsh. I feel like I was sounding like an Arsenal fan sometimes where we play, no matter how well they play, they're like, but we could have controlled the game better. It's not that at all. I think we won the game at the end. And like Paul said, we won not playing our best. Yeah. And that's a good in itself. I'm very much looking forward to the Villa game. I know that we'll talk about that, but overall, that was kind of my assessment. I feel like it's evident that we need a little bit more in our midfield, but everyone knows that and can see that. So just happy to get through to the next round, really.
I mean, for myself, obviously, I have to. Yesterday, from the instant match reaction, I gave Longstaff and Byrne their flowers. They deserved it. And to be honest with you, if I really pay attention to both of those guys' games, I mean, it was a normal game for both, but they scored. And I can't, if you really get strict, you can't judge left back or well, maybe a midfielder for scoring goals. They got to do something else, for you to say they had a great game. But yesterday I didn't feel like being a harsh judge, so I just thought, Byrne and Longstaff did what they had to do, and along with everybody else. So I think one of them could have been the man of the match. I mean, we're gonna get to that later on, and we got predictions as well to go and kind of say what we said. Paul, you're definitely wrong. You said we were going to win 5-0.
If we played well, we would have won 5-0.
Yep.
Yeah, we didn't play. Yeah, and
I got my predictions right. I got my
We
predictions right.
Yeah,
We would have smashed them if we played well.
Yeah.
yeah, man. But I always say this because I praised other teams before and for doing this. And to me, the heart of a champion is when you don't play good, but at the end of the day, you get the job done. And because you're not always going to play good. That's just the bottom line.
No.
That's just football. And so, but the fact that we got the job done against the Fulham team, that it's not the greatest Fulham team or not the worst either. It's a tough team playing away, and we know that our away form has been really bad throughout the season. And for us to do this, of course, Shearer was in the stands as well, and everything connected really well for Newcastle United. I don't know what else you guys think of this game.
Well, that was fun to see as well. Seeing
Yeah.
the cameras focused in on Shearer being in the away end. I think there was somebody on Twitter that posted a picture of him. They saw him, but he completely bundled up. There was this much you could see of him, but you knew who it was. Seeing him with a smile on his face in the away end with the Toon Army was just so much fun to watch. And I know that his eldest child was there, his Chloe, his daughter, and his youngest Will were also with him, and it looked like Will had a couple of his mates that have been featured in some of his posts on Twitter as well at different matches. So it looked like the five of them had a good night and enjoyed the camaraderie that is the away end of when you're together with the Toon Army. I've over the last two matches seeing what was it, 6,000 fans at the Stadium Light, and then 3,900 last night. So between the two games, 11,000 fans. In away support. Phenomenal atmospheres, just so much fun to see. And yeah, like we've all said, we didn't have the best game, but in the end, the right result. So good stuff.
Paul, you were saying
I did hear. I mean, I can't believe this. This shows you a modern Newcastle fan. Some people would actually, not with a joke face, were asking, how many loyalty points does Alan Shearer have? They're actually asking that.
Yep, I saw that.
I can't believe that, man. I think I saw that too, but it's just unbelievable,
Sorry.
Were they bantering or were they serious?
No, they were serious.
My word.
They were like getting annoyed because they're like, I couldn't go to the game. How come Alan Shearer can? It's like, mate, Alan Shearer can go to any game he wants, mate. He can go to any game he wants.
That's embarrassing.
I'm sure he's earned plenty of away points throughout his life.
Well, and and with come on, let's be honest, an entourage. I mean, he was there with four other people, but who's to say that they didn't have the points, and got the ticket. If Alan Shearer shows up to a Newcastle match, you're not going to turn him away. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say that comes with the privilege of being Premier League's all-time goal scorer and a Toon legend. Like, you get to bring an entourage with you to a football game. It's just that's just what happens. If your dad does that, then you don't have to.
Exactly.
You won't have to worry about that.
To be fair with you, I don't know very many places that he could go and say, I like to watch the game. I don't know very many places that would tell him no. To be honest with you, that's just not just Newcastle. He's a Premier League legend, man. Come on.
Well, And let's be honest, there was also the commentators were also talking yesterday that a significant amount of Fulham fans were protesting about the
Yeah,
price
man, that
of
stadium
the
was
tickets. So
dead.
there were some empty seats that maybe some people. I'm sorry, your seat has been taken, but we'll offer you these seats over here. Something like there's all kinds of situations that would have allowed for a Toon legend to get into the away end, and the fact that he was.
What's
Paul,
Phil laughing about?
Paul, I'll correct you there. Like if Sunderland can
Oh.
create a whole bar for us at their own stadium,
Yeah, man.
You think name one of their stands, the Alan Shearer stand?
Exactly right.
It was all black and white last time we played there, So I mean, but yeah, man, it was good. But now the focus. So what should we think about this FA Cup? I mean, what the draw was it today?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Have
what
you
are we
seen-
looking at?
have
We're
you
going to be
seen it,
away or
Chris?
home?
is it
Away.
Wrexham or
I knew it.
Blackburn? Wrexham or Blackburn away, isn't it?
Blackburn or
I
Wrexham,
knew it, man. Away. Why does it got to be away every time, man?
It's just the luck of the draw. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know about that.
The ball gets taken out of the bowl, and that's what.
So it's going to be Blackburn or Wrexham tomorrow.
Yeah.
They
I hope
play
it's Wrexham.
tomorrow.
I do too. That'll be fun.
All that media bullcrap
media
that
will
they
be
drag,
crazy. The media will be crazy.
the media crap that they drag, man, from the Deadpool guy.
When is that match?
Well, that's tomorrow. This
like
match that we're talking
February. It's like 26th of February or something. That
28th of February.
28th of February,
Yeah. And 28th, man. That's gonna be the fifth round. We should be able to beat either of these teams.
Yeah.
And I mean, just playing devil's advocate that obviously, not being, I don't know, I think we can beat them. So just counting that one, just for the sake of conversation, Newcastle is lining up. I mean, then you got 4 more phases to go, but what do you guys think of this FA Cup? I mean, should it be a focus? It's difficult too, because the Premier League, we got to get points, we got to finish higher. But what are you guys thinking? What would you do?
Win it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why not?
Win it.
Win it. I could say that.
I know this ain't all Tottenham fans, for instance, but there's a few Tottenham fans I've been hearing, like, for instance, talking down about League Cups and stuff. And that's not just Tottenham fans, others, like, they're talking down as if they're Man City. The only team in the league that can really talk down a cup is probably Man City. And that's because they're busy winning World Club Cups somewhere else at the same time. So, we need a cup. Yeah. We also need the league. We can do both very, very well, I think. So I think we go for it no matter. And there's no one to be afraid of. We've beaten Man City in the League Cup. We're beating Man United away at Old Trafford with Paul Dummett and Kraft as centre backs.
Yep.
Right.
That is
so
true.
We can do it with Sven Botman and Shah as well. I know that. So we go for it. It'd be incredible. It'd be absolutely incredible if we win it. It'd be fantastic.
Our best chance of silverware since the Carabao Cup final last year.
Yeah.
And even if, I absolutely agree, let's go for it. And it's sitting in 10th in the Premier League. There's still the ability, once we start getting some players back, injured players back into the side and get them, match fit and such. Yeah. We might be out of the top 4. We're 14 points behind right now, I think, out of 4.
10 point. I want to say 10 points. I don't know why that's in my head.
But
yeah,
we could get into the Europa League spot.
Easy.
And there's only going to be one of those, right?
Mm-hmm.
The way the rules break out this year. So we could get that spot and win the FA Cup. I've been reading a bit of the banter online. The focus has to be the cup. And if we win the FA Cup, that's a successful season. We could be out of Europe, but as long as we've won the FA Cup, that the season will have been a success.
Oh, the FA Cup. I mean, are you kidding me?
Getting into the Champions League spots.
Just like that, to be honest with you, Eddie Howe would be one of the greatest managers we had all time.
That's just you win the FA Cup and you're back in Europe anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, we got to do the player scores. So it's time, baby. It's time, and it's gonna be a shocking. People better record this one because Dan Burn and Longstaff.
Should I clarify the rumor really quick, Chris?
Go ahead. Yeah.
I just want to clarify a rumor that some people have fallen for it. It was a lie. Miggy has not been sold Okay, anyone who's heard that rumor,
Yeah.
it's rubbish. It's not true. He's not been sold. A lot of people have fallen for a tweet, which was very convincing, I guess, to some people who didn't look at
cattle.
didn't look at the tag. Miggy's not been sold. He's not going anywhere. He has COVID, genuinely has COVID. And he's recovering from that. He went to the hospital because his little child has COVID. That's why he's at hospital. Just to clarify a few things.
That's good. That's good, man. Because people grab things and run with it, and they don't even read the damn team's name. It says Newcastle United, and everything looks like the official page, but they fell for it, man. All right, so yeah, player scores.
Where do you want to start, Chris?
We're going to start with our goalkeeper. People said that they would have rather have another goalkeeper for this match, but this kid, Martin Dubravka. We can start with him. So he had a really good save in the first 10 minutes?
Yeah, from
really
Munoz.
Good save, man.
Yep.
Yeah. So what do you guys rate him as?
Go, Paul. What do you think?
Earlier on, I gave him an 8 because I think his distribution has got a lot better. His confidence has got a lot better since coming in. He's starting to clarify things in the box more now. Like I've seen him communicate for the most I've ever seen him last night with the back four, which is nice to see. He's not doing stupid things. I know he could still, but not getting caught he didn't get caught once yesterday in no man's land.
Right.
I was like, that's new. Well done. You're not caught in no man's land. But there was slightly some things here and there, but it wasn't his fault. The back four didn't help him out at times when they're playing it short and getting us in trouble. And Dubravka dealt with that quite well because he didn't get himself tackled or anything stupid like that. But some of the pass backs, it was like, what you did? Why are we doing that? Put themselves in trouble. Fulham were doing the same thing and got themselves, nearly scored again. So for me, Dubs did really well. He was clean sheet. 8 for me.
Philip.
Yeah, same. Everything Paul said, I'll give Dubravka an 8. That was a better performance in the Liverpool game.
No. Liverpool game, he had like 10 stops, man.
Yeah. He tried his best to help Nunez with it, but it's fine. But excellent save. Yeah, communication, everything else. He's really good. He's really good. He's a lot better than Pope with ball to feet, but we all know that. But he showed it, which was good. Yeah. So 8 out of 10.
Dan?
I was going to give him as an improved performance. I was going to give him as high as a 7, but I can hearing Philip and Paul, I could support an 8. I wouldn't disagree with that.
Yeah, I give him an 8 as well. What'd you say, Paul?
You got a troll in the chat.
Oh, there's a troll in there. Let me see. Oh Lord, dude. Go on somewhere, brother.
Not happening.
Well, yeah, no. How is not going anywhere? But hey, you're entitled to have your opinion. I mean, I guess that's an opinion. It's some opinion, but all right. Let's go with Tino Livramento. When's the last time he started for the team? A long time. Long time, man.
Well, he certainly didn't start yesterday.
He didn't start yesterday. It was Trippier.
Wait, I don't have the. Yeah, you're right. What match do I have on? Oh no, this is the wrong one, man. Oh my gosh. No, Trippier.
Is this the 3-0 Fulham game you've got?
Yeah. Oh my god, dude, I hate. I'm telling you, I freaking hate SofaScore. I love it, but I feel like sometimes their setup is not right because they should have the latest match, not whatever match they just had to put on. Oh, it was the last Premier League match, I guess. Whatever. But maybe that's probably the last time he started. To be honest with you.
Probably was, yeah.
So yeah, Kieran Trippier. So what do you think, Paul?
For me, are we doing man of matches now or later?
Well, damn it, you're probably already. You can say your man of the match, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Kieran Trippier was my man of the match by some distance. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. I could not understand what Lee Dixon was on, giving it to Dan Burn. I thought he was bizarre all night in commentary, hated us, really had an agenda against us, moaned about us all game, about how terrible we were, blah, blah, blah. But Trippier, for me, I thought he had one of the best games for us in a long time. That cross for the first goal that caused all the confusion into the box, It's unbelievable quality that made the goal. As much as Longstaff obviously was a great finish, but Kieran Trippier caused all that trouble. His corner again caused the second goal. Botman has a really good head at it, but again he's caused that. And one of the things I really loved was we got ourselves in a bit of bother, and he dealt with it because I've seen it so many times. When you get that tangled in your feet, you score an own goal. Like so many players do that when they're in that position, and he just calmed himself down and passed it out for a corner.
Yeah.
You know,
We should do that against Chelsea, but yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Too, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But just to like calmed it down when we were playing at the back, he was going crazy at Shah. When we were playing at the back, and he played it back to Dubravka. It was a really silly pass, and Kieran was like, "Stop doing it." He was like really upset with him. So I was like, "Thank God that he's saying to him, stop doing it," because he could tell it Fulham on us. But yeah, for me, I thought it was outstanding from Trippier. I was shocked that they didn't think he was close to man of the match. To be fair, Lee Dixon wanted to give it to a Fulham player because he thought we were that bad. So that just shows you everything you need to know about that commentary. But yeah, it was a 9 out of 10. I thought it was unbelievable.
A lot of bias. I mean, I apologize to cut you off, Paul, but like I'm starting to notice what is going on with some of these narrators, commentators, man, that just feel like they're so negative. I mean, like, when it comes to Newcastle, like as soon as the Murphy played out, they were like, yeah, that's never going to be a goal. If that gets allowed, then it's going to get a roar and like, relax, brother. Like, let us watch it again. Like, it might be, and it was, but damn it, you know what I mean? It's crazy, man.
We're upsetting the apple cart. That's what it all comes down to.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, finish, Paul. I'm sorry.
No, that was it. It was just saying. For me, it was a 9 out of 10. I thought it was. I just thought it was unbelievable. I thought it was a really. After all of the rumours and all of that, and you wonder how he's going to play. For me, I thought he was just like unspoken, sort of like. No, I haven't heard anyone else say this about Trippier about the game. Everyone's kind of said that Molly was very good. He'd be my second, but I just felt that Trippier was kind of that understated sort of the person that drove it. Like he won the game for us. I know he didn't score the goals, but he caused all of the panic for both the goals.
Yep. Well, just sheer brilliance. Just the way he puts the ball into the 18. It just he plays two, three steps ahead. He's got the footballing brain that is, at 33, 34 years old, he's not getting any faster. He's going to just continue to decline at this point. But the fact that his thinking is so far ahead and gets us where we need to be. And like Paul said, 2 magnificent balls into the box that caused confusion that led to goals. That, good stuff. And especially after the week he had with the rumors of going to Bayern, with the constant, criticism of his last several games. I mean, he had a good match against Sunderland. Personally, it was great to see he had his head round. He's back in it. He's where we need him to be.
What score did you give him?
I'll agree. I'll agree with Paul and give him a 9. Yep.
All right.
He played out of his skin yesterday.
Philip,
back to his best.
Yeah, I'm not as high as the guys, but I'll probably give him an 8 out of 10. I think before most of the centre back line played really well. I was going to say I didn't see him do the the usual kind of overlaps and kind of balls in or whatnot, but I think that's mainly because of he wasn't playing with Almiron, he was playing with Murphy, who's got a right foot, so he can do that himself. So I can't really blame him for that. I think I think I only give it an 8 because I've seen him play even better. It's not to say that he wasn't playing poor. I think it's because we're seeing the recovery, like I said, and I think there's a lot more to come from him. We're going to see the more Newcastle get comfortable, you see him invert a lot more, so take up almost like a DM position at times.
Yep.
And that's when Newcastle are really buzzing in terms of how we're playing. So I give him an 8 out of 10.
Nice. I will say about an 8. Yep, that's fine with me. Then we go to center backs: Fabian Schär and Sven Botman.
I thought Botman had a better game than Schär. I don't think anyone was terrible, but I think Botman was the most. He was very close to man of the match.
Right.
His pass succession rate was like something ridiculous, like 96% yesterday. This lad is something different.
We missed him.
Just so good. Again on corners. I mean, the header to the goalkeeper. Again, just power. He's unlucky it hasn't gone in really. But he's there to do it. On corners for us, he's just always there. It's just that constant, he's always getting the ball away or getting his foot in somewhere, and it's just so refreshing to have him back. Shah, he wasn't terrible yesterday. I think he had like a run-of-the-mill performance for us.
Yeah.
He wasn't his usual self. Some of his passes went a bit awry. Like I said, Trippier was in particularly annoyed at him for one pass back to Dubravka that he told him off for quite forthrightly. So I think I was going to judge it. I'd probably say that Botman deserves probably like an 8, and I think Shah probably gets a 7.
Yeah. Go ahead, Philip.
No, I fully agree with Paul, really. I think, 7, he was very patchy in the first half. I don't blame him too much for the passing, because I think that an instruction for him in the beginning, I think Hal's instruction is that you're the one that sets things off in terms of long balls in particular. So I don't blame him too much for him, but sometimes just deciding when he's going to do that is one thing as well, decision making. And thank goodness Trippier was there, because I think Trippier is probably one of the only few players that can really that Shah has to listen to when he's saying something, and kind of straightened him out at the end. Really, 7 out of 10. Botman. The only time Botman doesn't play very well is if Dan Burn doesn't play very well, because it pulls him out of position.
Yep.
And because Dan Burn played better, I think, and I'm not saying that his performance hinges on Dan Burn, but he doesn't have to cover him so much. And so when he doesn't have to cover him so much, he's very comfortable, and he's very proactive in closing that gap in between the midfield and the defense, so things stop a lot more quicker. And so I thought it was excellent. I'll give him an 8 out of 10 as well.
Dan?
Not going to disagree with either of them. Botman was a step ahead of Cher all game. If you're going to give Cher a 7, then you got to give Botman an 8, because it was that close. But like Philip said, Botman only plays poorly when the left back is playing poorly, and because he played. And I say left back because we've had Livramento play there as well. But when Livramento plays,
it's different.
It's
gravy.
Yeah, exactly. And Dan Burn had a good game yesterday. So 8 for Botman, 7 for Cher.
I'll do 7 for Cher and 7.5 for Botman. I'm gonna be petty. I love Botman, but I seem like he just killed.
Let's hear this. Go on.
No, and Chris, spoken like a true American as well. We can't do whole numbers. We have to do decimals.
I know, right?
7.6.
Yeah, I'm gonna do.
The one time he used his right foot, I'm gonna give him a 7.7.
All right, so we got to go to the left side. Dan Burn. I will start with this one. I'm gonna give my guy Dan Burn an 8.3. He deserves it. He wasn't the greatest, but he played good. One of the best at his position, I guess you could say. So there you go. Go ahead, Paul.
I like the 8.3. That's very good, very precise. Fulham had a game plan, as most teams do. And I said about the lineup, I told people that Dan Burn would start, as much as they didn't like hearing it. I told you he would. And he is going to start on Tuesday if he's fit as well.
Yes.
Get used to it.
I know, Paul. I know.
But Fulham were attacking that side. They knew to attack Burn. They got in a few times in behind him. I did like the fact that Dan Burn recovered at times. He did get in, to get in behind him, but he did kind of use it. I say pace, his stride to get some nice tackles in. And he was a bit like Sunderland in this performance, where we're alluding to this before, that in parts of the game he was ahead of our wingers at times up front. It was like, where is he going? So that's obviously some form of, it's obviously a tactic from Hal. And it worked for the corner. That's what got the goal. The fact that we're brave to put people up where we want to try and score goals from set pieces, because we were really good at that last season. We haven't been as good this season. We're a bit more inventive last season. Some of our corners and their balls have been quite frustrating this season. Sometimes they led to a bloody goal the other way. But today they're a bit better. I mean, 2 of the corners after that annoyingly went straight to the first man, Trippier.
Yeah.
So that is frustrating. But yeah, Dan Burn, I thought he had a very good game. So 8.2.5.3 for him.
There it is. Philip.
Yeah, and I was going to actually tag on to what Paul was saying about sometimes the players getting past Dan Burn and him doing recovery tackles. I think what has been better is his positional play. So even when they did get past him, it wasn't in a dangerous play, or he wasn't playing right back when he should be left back. I won't. If anybody remembers the Liverpool game, goodness gracious. So it wasn't in those kind of dangerous positions or places where he's totally out of whack. So his positional play was far better. And even at times when, I think once maybe when Botman had to cover for him, again, it seemed, I say comfortable, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been. So he did really well there. So his positional play improved. He looks a lot more confident. He's not, if people are asking him to be Alphonso Davies or something like that, it's asking the fish to walk. So you have to judge him on what he's actually there for: height, strength, leadership, positional awareness, which has been off the previous 2 or 3 weeks or whatnot, before the Sunderland game, but has improved and come back to where he was. So for that, I give him an 8.5. If you're asking him to do kind of go past the wing on the other side and do that, it's always going to be below 2. But we're not asking him to do that. And I don't think Howe's asking him to do that. I think he even just does decoy runs. So Howe just says, just do decoy. No one passed the ball to him. just let him do the decoy runs. Yeah, just do that, and you'll get something out of him. So yeah, I'll give Dan Burn 8.5. He looks happy, actually. He looks happy because he looks, when you're doing well and you're doing well, you look happier. So I'm happy for him. So
he knew I was going to give him a good rating this time. So
8.3. I was waiting. Whenever the lineups come up, I think Chris has got it copy and paste. Where's Livramento?
Yeah, that is true. Go ahead, Dan.
I will give him, because of both Paul and Philip have already mentioned all the good parts. I'll go one better. I'm going to give him an 8.6725 because he scored the goal. He played. There were at times where the overlap got him into center forward positions where, what the hell is Big Dan Burn doing there? At the same time, I'll agree with the recovery runs. If you're a Fulham player and you've gotten behind Big Dan Burn, but you're looking back over your shoulder and you're seeing that son of a bitch come back behind you. You don't want to be in that position because it's going to fluster you. You're going to lose concentration. You're going to lose the ball simply because that beast of a left back is on your back. That's what I love about Dan Burn. And like Philip said, he's playing happy. When he's playing well, when the team is playing well, and the Toon Army is 100% vocal behind you, it's making you feel like you're, for a guy who's already nearly 7 feet tall, you stretch to the full 10 foot tall at that point. When the Army's behind you and you're feeling good, you're the biggest guy on the pitch, and that was Dan Burn yesterday. So yeah, I will go. I'm going with my almost 8.7. I'm going to give him an 8.6 and 2/3.
Oh wow, sensible moniker says Dan had
sensible moniker.
Dan had an awful first half hour, but grew into the game. He does worry me with his lack of pace.
Yeah, I mean, if it's worrying you now,
with his 8-foot legs, he only has to take 4 steps and he's already back. So
if his lack of pace worries you now, then
we already know the look. Yeah, we already know the look, man. When he gives you this look. When he gives you this look and that walk, man, you already know it's time. He's a little. We gotta give him some Gatorades. Some, gotta sneak him. You gotta put an IV real quick in the corner or something. Gotta hydrate him.
He's probably got a sport gel in his sock. I mean, it's just all he has to do is pop down. There you go. Off we go.
Right? Yeah. All right. So we got Dan Burn. Now we'll go to the midfield. Lewis Miley So, Paul, Lewis Smiley, what do you think?
This kid, man. This kid. What is he doing? What is he doing, man? This lad is the same age as some of the people I teach in my college who have to tell them how to like walk through a door.
Tie a shoe.
I can't believe this lad's the same age as some of the people that I have to tell off for the most stupid things on the planet, how to do basic things in their life. It's phenomenal. He is a big talent. You know, I don't want to overhype or overuse him or whatever. You know, we need to use him sensibly, because I mean it. Whether it's next season or the season after, whatever, I think he's a mainstay for the first 11. Like, you know, he's that good. He's just so, like, he reads the game so well for a young lad. And for me, like I said this a couple of times in the past, that if you do a good job with this lad and you mold him in the right way, because of where money is going in the world, and I know FFP's come in, but whatever, where money was going in the Premier League, if he turns into any sort of player we think he can be, we've saved ourselves £100 million, literally, because you know you only pay that sort of money for what he could be. And he's just,
Absolutely.
He's just unbelievable, you know. And yesterday again just proved that, you know, he's showing. Bruno had not his best game, but when the 17-year-olds played better than Bruno Guimaraes, that tells you everything you need to know.
Yep.
Yeah. So for me, he was very close to man of the match. I thought again, this is an easy peasy 8 out of 10.
Go ahead, Philip.
I'm somewhere between 6.5 and 7 for him, but that's not is necessarily his fault. I think neither him or Longstaff like to play left midfield. They don't like it. But I have a harder critique for Longstaff because he's older and has been playing in the Premier League player, certified Premier League player for a lot longer than Miley has. Miley's 17 years old, and I can forgive him a lot more for that than Longstaff. Miley does Miley things, make very good decisions, whether short pass, long pass, and sometimes I think he's ahead of what the other strikers. For instance, he makes passes where people think, "Oh, that's gone off," or that there was nowhere near. But he's made the right forward pass if the run was made for it, and so it looks off. But no, that's the run that you should be making. So I give him that. And again, I feel harsh because he's 17. I don't mean like in terms of he's a baby, but in terms of like filling out and being stronger. The things I'm kind of critiquing for is almost like his fault. Like, just to be a bit more stronger, to have a little bit more. He calls for the ball, he wants for the ball, but I feel like he's got the talent to control the ball the way Bruno does. But that's more than just technique. That's to do with personality and maturity and having, you know, if Bruno or someone's shouting, "Give me the ball," you're not going to say, "No, I want to slow down the tempo. I want to do this or that." You're 17. Give him the ball. That's what's going to happen. But I think as you see Miley getting older and getting seniority, you start seeing him do that. Like Bruno doesn't pass the ball. He passes the ball when he wants to pass the ball. We can tell that. And sometimes he just tells someone to go away. He'll do what he wants to do with it. And I think Miley's got I think it's partly why we don't have as much control in the midfield. And there's so much goes to Bruno to doing that. And I think Miley's got a talent to do that. But again, he's 17 years old. So yeah, I feel like I'm kind of critiquing for things that are a little bit way beyond him, but it's the reality. I think when you see Miley being 8 out of 10. So for me, I think I was stuck between whether he's a Carrick or a Lampard, and I see him molding into a Carrick, and I think he's going to be incredible. That's why I'm giving him a 6.5, because I think that's almost like a baseline for what he is actually going to be. So, and even the game, I would like to have seen that. I kind of went on about Miley a bit longer than I thought I would, but yeah, 6.5 for Miley for me.
No, that's nice. That's nice, brother. Good perspective. Maybe he's the character that we never had, that we could have had.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, go ahead.
I watched a quick 6-minute documentary last night on YouTube on Wall's End Boys Club, and 13-year-old Michael Carrick was sitting down to think about what his options were. It was before he even went to the West Ham Academy. It was a neat documentary, and you can. It was from 1994. So if you look it up, you're just seeing Michael Carrick, you know, come down to have breakfast in the morning and that kind of stuff. It was an odd thing to watch, knowing that he's now the manager of Middlesbrough. You know, it was just something else. In terms of Miley, I want to echo what Paul said about what he will bring to the club in savings, not having to go out and buy that kind of talent. He's got so much in the tank right now that he's capable of. I also think he's in the right, 100% the right place to learn what he needs to do going forward. He's going to learn from Trippier. He's going to learn from Bruno. He's going to learn how to be a beast from Joe Linton. He's, you know, if the only thing I wish we could have, you know, could we bring back David Batty and give him some bite? You know, that would be fantastic. The big question for me going forward with Lewis Miley and the potential he has is, you know, is he going to be a better 8? Is he going to be a better 6? Which is he most suited to do? Like Philip said, he wants the ball. You know, he has no fear of being an outlet. The question is, which talent is he going to give us? Is he going to be a Sandro Tonali, or do we want Sandro Tonali to play the 8 and we make Miley the 6? I could see him being an ever present in the midfield. Absolutely. He's got that talent and he's got the growth potential. He's going to fill out. He's going to get a little bit bigger. He's going to get much stronger. Yeah, he's a once in a generation type player. And the fact of the matter is that we've got another Miley in the academy coming up as well is also something to look at too. So yeah, a solid 7. I would lean towards 8. If we're going to use decimals, it's 7.75. You know, that's what I'll give it.
All right, so we got left Bruno Guimaraes and long stuff. We're going to do that one later, but yeah, Guimaraes.
Yeah, I think look, he's in his own limit of how good he has been, and the problem is if he has a great game, you always put him towards that. Then if he has a bad game, he looks worse because you know how good he can be. He's got a lot on at the moment. You know, literally any minute, any day now, his missus is gonna, you know, literally go into labour. So I'm sure that's been playing on his mind at home. Maybe having some sleepless nights or whatever. He was clearly annoyed with himself at the end of the game. I think he knew he had a bit of an off game yesterday. He did some bits here and there. Like he sent one of the Fulham players for their dinner. That was nice. And he put a lovely ball into Isak that didn't quite go.
Yeah, that was a shame.
That was nice.
That was a shame.
Nearly got a shot off in the second half. If it doesn't get blocked, it probably goes into the back of the net because it was a decent connection. So he wasn't awful, but for his own levels, he wasn't great, I guess. But I'm not going to say he was like terrible or anything, but I think it'd be hard to give him more than a 6.
Right on, Philip.
Yeah, 6.5. 6.5.
When you started, Chris.
That's my score. That's my score.
6.5. I'm looking at his heat map. He was very much stuck to the number 6. I think Hal told him to stay in this number 6 because nobody else could take the ball with their back to goal from that part. And then by the time he got to up the other side of the field, we either lost it or, you know, it was so that's the part that's so frustrating, you know. And it was where he misses Joe Linton, he misses even a Tonali, and you know, to a lesser extent, obviously, but it will miss a Joe Linton just covering him behind him like somebody there. And he feels a lot more confident. That's why Longstaff has to sacrifice himself. He has to tell Bruno, mate, you go and be Bruno. I'll be behind you, like they did against PSG in 1-4-1. And yeah, I don't want to blame Bruno's performance based on somebody else, but it has a lot to do with that, and he's so key to what we do. So yeah, I've given him a 6.5.
Yep.
Go ahead, Dan.
6. He didn't have his best game, but you know he played above. If you were going to say he had a bad game, you give him a 4. You give him, you know, but he definitely was 2 steps above that. So he is not the Bruno. He was not the Bruno that we know Bruno can be. Yes.
Yeah.
And I agree that, you know, you got to ask Longstaff has to go back and look at some of his old tape and say, okay, when we played our best, this is what I did for Bruno. This is what I did for the club to sacrifice what I could do in order to make us better. And I, again, I'm just interested to see what our midfield is going to look like in seasons to come with Joe Linton, and when we actually get to use Tonali. The fact that Tonali is training with the team day in, day out, he's going to hit the ground running as soon as he gets there. So are we going to see less of a Lewis Miley, or are we going to see less of a Joe Linton, or are we going to sell a Joe Linton? It matters not. Bruno yesterday, as Chris said, or as Philip said, or Paul said, he's got a lot on his mind. And yesterday was not his best, and he had to be consoled by Howe at the end, after the final whistle, because he was being hard on himself. And Howe was like, "Okay, look, did you see the result? We did the job. We could go into the locker room and be happy." I have every expectation that his dad is also going to have a talk with him and say, "All right, what's up, bud? We can help you through this, no problem."
The good thing is that when Bruno does have a bad game, he usually recovers very well by the next game.
Exactly. So I'm looking forward to Villa on Tuesday. I give Bruno a solid 6.
All right, so we'll go to the left side. We got Longstaff. I'm gonna give him a 7.5. I think he was a little bit less than Burns. So there we go. Oh no, I give
regrets of teeth.
Yes, I'm gonna do 7.5. The goal was good, but he, 7.5 is good. Go ahead, Paul.
I think it was a typical Longstaff performance in most of the game. I think it's good that he's shooting. Eddie Howe told him himself. He said in the press conference that he has told him to actually shoot a bit more, because he does have a lovely finish. I mean, it's a great finish. He's taken that instinctively with his left foot, and it's right in the corner. It's a brilliant, brilliant finish, and we've seen him do that in the past as well. Like, some of his volleys from outside of the box can be really special. Sometimes they're pretty crap, but sometimes they're very, very good. And Eddie Howe said to him that, "You know what, mate, I want to see more of that." So in his press conference, he's told Sean, "I want to see a bit more of that, mate," actually. So that, I'm hoping that's a bit more positive, because sometimes he doesn't always, and it's not just Sean that does that. We do get in positions you think, hit the ball, and they don't do it. So it's nice to actually see them hit the ball first time, and you just never know, and look what happens. So he did little things like, he's scrappy, he puts his foot in, he does track back, but he's still doing some things that does all of our heads in, where he doesn't track back all the time or gives the ball away very easy. The usual Longstaff gripes from us. He's definitely not quite back to where he was, because at one point he was undroppable. He was unbelievable, and I think he's still finding that form. I can't wait for him to get it back, because we do need it. Because obviously having Joe out for, let's just be honest, he's out for the season. Whether he plays the last game or not, I don't think you can really count that. But probably, I don't know if it's going to be this on Tuesday, but at some point where a yellow card away from losing Bruno for 2 games, probably he gets that against Villa. I'm not saying for definite, but you never know. Probably gets that yellow against Villa, and then we're knackered for him for 2 games. So, we're just we're needing him to kind of step up there, because Willock is coming back, which is a bloody big positive. But again, how much fit is he really going to be? He's not going to exactly come back and be outstanding. It's going to take a few games. So, Longstaff, decent game. I think a 7 is fair for him for yesterday, for the goal as well on top of that.
Yep, Dan?
100%. Yep, Paul said all the right things. 7 for me. He it's not the Longstaff we saw under Rafa that was going to, garner a 50 million, pound bid from Manchester United. It wasn't that kind of a play. But we're not seeing him at his best. But again, talk about tired legs. Here's a kid that, is not, I don't think is meant to be a full-time starter every match. This is this is the guy that you throw on with 30 minutes left in the match with fresh legs that can take on a tired defense. And as Paul said, I think Howe has said, you've got the shots in you. Let's see you take some. So the fact that he's been playing, that he's been forced to start every match so far with so many injuries and such, I think yesterday was a good performance. It wasn't his best performance, but again, he got the starting goal with a lovely finish. So yeah, a solid 7 for Longstaff.
For Longstaff. All right, we got to move fast because we got to wrap up and do the preview for tomorrow. So we're gonna go with the forwards, all three together at once. Jacob Murphy, good comeback. Alexander Isak and Gordon. So Paul, let's start with the forwards, brother.
Yeah, I'll go pretty quickly for you, mate. Gordon, I thought was terrible most of the game. Sorry, Gordon. I thought he was one of the worst players on the pitch. Should have come off much earlier. He didn't look fit. I don't know. He looked off. 6 out of 10 for Gordon. I didn't think he was great at all. Isak, I felt sorry for him. He was making some really good runs, and people kept ignoring him. The poor guy. He was making some outstanding.
It was insane. It was insane.
And the poor guy, Livramento ignored him. Gordon ignored him several times. This poor chap is making these outstanding runs. So it's hard to give Isak a very kind score because I think if you give he's probably scoring 3 goals. Like I said, if we play better, my 5-0 doesn't look that mad. So Isaac, I think, gets a fair. Don't move too hard on him. 7 is maybe too much, but I'll give him a 7 just to be quick. And then Murphy looked okay, could have scored the goal, scored a great offside goal. It was just nice to have something different. Miggy is. I'm not slagging him off, but we've needed that difference because people get used to how we play with Miggy. So it's nice to have that bit of different attacking threat. And he did all right. I think he's obviously still not matched.
Yeah.
So I think a fair 7 for him as well. I think that's about fair for the front 3 there. But Gordon, Gordon was definitely off.
Go ahead, Philip.
Yeah, I agree with Paul. 6 for Gordon. Looks very frustrated of himself. Wasn't clicking for him. Isak. Yeah, I'll give him a 7 as well, but it's not his fault. This time definitely really isn't his fault. You can only make so many runs and people ignore you for whatever weird reason they were ignoring him for. And I'd love to see if anybody was at the game, whether he was berating the players for doing that. I remember the story between Shearer and Ginola. I can't remember if it was a training or a match, and Shearer had to pin him to the wall and tell him to pass the ball. Maybe Isak might have to take some of that with him because he can't keep on doing that. So yeah, 7 for Isak, and 6.5 for Murphy. You can clearly see the rustiness, but you can see the effort, and you can definitely see the I want to be here, I'm happy to be here. So
he was great.
6.5 for Murphy.
He was great. Dan?
6 across the board. I think
change one of them. Change the one of them to at least a 7, please. 3 6s and all that.
Okay.
Man, that was hard, man.
No, I think it's fair to say that our forward line were just off yesterday. But I'll agree with Philip and
5
Paul.
For Gordon, maybe. I don't know.
I will give Isak a 7 because he got into the right places. He just couldn't get the ball. Murphy again. Just wonderful to have him back. Just the lineup once it was posted on social media with that the look on his face was like, oh, I'm starting.
He did the best facial expression.
I tell you, and that's why I said I'm black through black and white eyes. I said that if I was going to have dinner with a current player, it's just Jacob Murphy because I want to see his reactions to when the food comes to the table. I just, So is Paul waving? Where's Paul waving at?
That's what Murphy did.
Exactly. Bye. No, so I'll give Isak a step up. I'll downrate Murphy because of the rust, but he's definitely going to show us the endeavor. And again, it gives us something different than Miggy when we've become stale. And then, Gordon, give him a 6 because he wasn't in it last night. He was better. He was better than others, but at the same time, he was not the Gordon that we've seen over the last few matches.
That is true. Just quickly running back to some of the predictions from the preview. Definitely, Paul didn't win the prize, 5-0. At the end of the day, the right score is what matters, brother. I will agree with you, though, that if we would have played better, we would have scored more. So Paul didn't win it. Tony got the score right, but he wanted to double down, act like a cool guy, and say Isak and Gordon were going to score. And, just listen, keep it simple, man. You know, you might. We don't know the prize yet, but yeah, well, you know, might have won a big shout out from me. I guess that's good. That's a good price. Um, Jack said 3-1, and that was off. And Isak and Gordon as well scoring. That was off. I said 2-1, and I was off too, but that was the closest. So no, actually, Tony was. So, but from now on, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do everybody's predictions. That way, you know, we can read everybody's on the group chat. I need to add to Philip there because it's the purpose that I told you before. That's not what the group chat is for. But now, you know, everybody's there. Tony and Paul, and you know, just kind of giving our predictions and stuff like that. But yeah, so it looks like nobody got it except for Tony. But he got.
I would have got it. I said 2-0.
You said 2-0?
In my match preview, yeah, I said 2-0 in Newcastle.
Oh man, well, yeah, you would have won the 100,000K, man, $100,000. But yeah, it is what it is. But listen, it was a great match review. Of course, we're about to record the preview for Aston Villa Newcastle, and so you can watch it tomorrow live. We won't be live literally, but you know you can interact with us and of course enjoy that show. So. If anybody else has any final thoughts before we wrap up,
again, not the best performance.
Not the best.
It's the result that counts, and we're on to the next round.
I'm
looking forward to playing either Blackburn or Wrexham. I hope it's Wrexham simply because the world's in love with Wrexham because of Reynolds and McElhenney or not McElhenney. Yeah, McElhenney. No, it just. Imagine the coverage that match.
Oh yeah, it's gonna get a lot of coverage. For sure.
It'll be fun to put more black and white stripes out in the world. You know,
yeah.
and use Hollywood to do it. So I'm good with it. I'm happy to be through the next round. That's all I'm gonna say. That's the end.
That is it. All right. I appreciate everybody's support. We will see you tomorrow and this whole week. We got a lot of stuff going on, so we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Take care.
Thanks, guys.